Hi, good evening, Blues. Hi, Mabsy. It's
You're right.
Everton v Villa. It's your match day preview. You're stuck with us for the next half hour, but we're in better spirits, aren't we?
Yeah, no, absolutely. We've come in and Everton on the but frightened the Villa. I don't think they're not at the moment. They're not firing on all cylinders, so it's the right time to play. But again, these international breaks seem to fuck out and over. We're doing good, and then suddenly, bam, hit a wall. We have a break, and yeah, so.
I thought it was, other than obviously Mikalenko, I thought that, this had come at a time where we can take stock of the fact that we've made a lot of signings and we've played some good football and we can enjoy a little break.
I get it. So for the likes of like Merlin Rolls and stuff like that, apparently that he is smashing the training. So that is good, and he's getting to prove what he can do on the field. So I get what you're saying, but I think we just lose that momentum. We've just lost that momentum that we had coming into it. On the back of Mansfield, on the back of Brighton, on the you see what I'm saying? It's just
Yeah.
just
You just want to
always
play game. They
like
probably just
on the back of walls and stuff like that. We just want to be playing games. These international breaks, they kill, they kill it.
Yeah, they do. They are a momentum suck, but it's not ice hockey. I do think that we might have actually been able to use. I mean, it's pros and cons. We might have been able to use that break to bed in more of the new signings. But anyway, this preview comes to you ahead of the press conference, I believe. I certainly have not seen the press conference yet, so we're here on Thursday evening, and depending on what is said, obviously Everton playing Aston Villa, who haven't scored a goal. So how the tables have turned, really.
Yeah,
If you were going to say we'll be going to this game and one team hasn't scored a goal and our league position is kind of irrelevant, but Villa are 19th and they haven't scored a goal, you would have said that it probably would have been the other way around. Everton, obviously, total points 6. We're way above our expected points. Villa have got a lot to prove.
yeah, they have, and as I say, I think Peter Duggan's got it perfect there. Load of injuries. I wouldn't say 100%. Either, obviously. No, I'm not saying. I'm not saying that we're not 100%. I'm just saying it's a momentum killer. So we can go out and win. I'm not saying that. I just say the international break just kills it. I feel end of the day you're three games in, and then bam, it stops. We're doing good at this present moment in time. I would have preferred not to have the break and just got on with it and see where we got. But
Yep.
we are where we are, and we've had this international break, and we can go out and win this game. There's no way. I'm not doubting that.
Yeah, for sure. We can win the game, but anything can happen. We probably haven't got the first game factor. And there's still a lot of competition for places amongst a still small squad, but there's better quality in there now, which we've proven.
Yeah,
So anyway, let's talk about Grealish, because he's facing off against Villa, and he's just celebrated, I think, his birthday as well, and he can't be far off getting back into the England setup on the performance of the first game in the international break, but he probably is licking his lips against Aston Villa. It's kind of bittersweet for him to be playing them, but we've got a player on top form going for the first triple assist. So the only there's never been a player that's got 2 assists in 3 games consecutively ever in the Premier League.
that is actually an amazing stat, isn't it? When you look at it.
Yeah, it's crazy when you think about the sorts of players that we've seen in the Premier League. How much of a factor do you think Jack has been from Everton's resurgence?
It's absolutely huge. If you look at previous, he's beaten the assist record last season already. Where he's 2 games in, isn't it? 2 games in.
Yeah,
You know, he's a breath of fresh
3 if you
air.
include the cup game.
Well, yeah, well, 3 and 3 then. Yeah, but in the league, it's a breath of fresh air, and you know what? I can't wait to see him. I'm made up. He's in blue, absolutely made up. He's just so dominant. He knows his game and the quality shown through.
Yeah. Up front, obviously, Everton have decision to make. Actually, let's move on to team news. We basically got that situation again because Mikolenko missed out on Ukrainian duty, and obviously
Again,
Brandtwaite's still out. Azuno's out.
we
Patterson's
don't know
out.
that, do we? Well, he won't be match fit anyway, will he? So
No, probably not. But it does leave us with that situation again where it's well, what do you do? And do you think Beto is going to get the nod over? That's my lineup, but it really
I
is.
don't know because he seems to be chopping and changing, doesn't he, to try and keep them both happy. But again, the argument goes, do you change the winning team? But then again, he did change the winning team, and you know he changed Beto, and again, you know, it's a tough one. You
Yeah.
know, it really is. Do you think Rolls will start?
No, I don't think so. I don't think that he'll get thrown in right away. I think he'll come on as a sub, and then he'll be brought into the fold. But that's one advantage of having him join before the international break. But I think we're back to that situation where we might see Garner at a fullback position because if Mikolenko's out and we haven't got anyone else, then I don't see how we've proven that we can get away with it. We did against Brighton, right?
Well, yeah, you have to. You have to. That's the and again that is the issue.
It's just a shame because I think Mikolenko overlapping with with Grealish, you can obviously can do anything, but it can definitely drift inside. He's got a free license. Mikolenko looked good alongside him, and if he doesn't play, it just exposes that although it was a good window, we didn't strengthen in the fullback positions, and we were ending up playing arguably a centre back at right fullback. Loses that impetus of going forward. I think we'll get away with it, and the reason why I think we'll get away with it is Drewsbury Hall, one of the most. He's played more minutes this season for Everton than he had for the whole of last season for Chelsea.
I
Chelsea
mean,
in big trouble today. Of
Roy's
course.
made a really good point. Is Amazon not fit?
That's
Would you not have given
we think they're doubtful, but this stream's come before before Moyes, so tomorrow we'll find out more. But according to some sources that we've got, we think they're both doubtful. Okay.
But
well,
you know what? Why not? Why wouldn't you do it though? This is in for a penny, in for a pound. You need someone.
Yeah, of course. You know, a lot's been said about Everton's spending spree, but we do have Merlin roll.
It kind of.
Sorry, it may have just cut out, and we have
Are
a well-known
you still there?
hotel. Yeah, I can hear you. It just cut out a little bit. It's okay.
Sorry.
Well, what we can do is if it continues for whatever reason, you could just come off the video temporarily. We'll see if that works. But anyway, you're here, and we got what you're saying. I was just saying that it's gonna be good when all our players are fit. I mean, Mikolenko on the left. I do think we need to strengthen in the right fullback position. We spoke about this before, but we've got to be happy with what we've done. Massive net spend. I think the figures were out today. But we've also got Merlin, and I think Everton have enough in midfield now to take control over games that we never did. I think we can catch teams by surprise, and maybe one might be Villa, but Emery sets them up, and I think they'll bounce back. Probably the international break came at a good time for them because they'd not been going well. And for those who haven't followed the Villa results, You know, they basically drew goalless against Newcastle at home, and then they lost 1-0 to Brentford. So it's not exactly terrible, but then what really hurt them was the defeat of Palace at home, 3-0. I mean, we know Palace have been going well at times, but you lose in front of your own fans by that sort of scoreline. We know from we've seen it too many times at Goodison
Yeah, we
that
really have.
we know that people can get on your back quite quickly. And going into this match, Onana and Barkley could have been in for a chance to make appearances at the new stadium, but they're very doubtful for the clash. Barkley, I think, struggling
Good.
to surprise you with fitness. Onana, hamstring. But they could have Harvey Elliott, who they've just signed. So we can get the Boo Boys out for that. And Jadon Sancho is also in line, possibly for a start. He's pushing that way, especially where they haven't scored any goals. And he arrived from United on deadline day. So, you know, we don't know what Villa side is going to go out, but there's certainly a good chance we will see Luka Dean, I think, back in the new stadium. So I've put my predictive lineup, but we just don't know what Villa are going to turn up. They've got quality there. I mean, they Champions League last season. They went pretty well, and they're well managed. And I'm sure that they'll finish way above us at the end of the season. But who do you look at? We don't know. No. Do you look at that side and go, I'm worried about them, or are you not worried about anyone at the moment because we've kind of hit a bit
you've
of
got
a
to be
purple
worried about
patch?
some teams, but I think given the recent form, given our form before the international break, I think we've got a massive stadium now with the crowd behind us, noisy. It drowns the Villa fans out, and you've got to fancy us to win this. You've got to. The signings that we have made, the quality. Having Jack Grealish, I think, is a massive coup. Absolutely, and not forgetting Kieran Dewsbury Hall on this. Adding to the equation.
It's become an embarrassment of riches for creativity for Everton. I mean, we've not been really blessed with a lot of creative players over the last 5 years or so. Argue which way you want. We've been pretty poor to watch, boring at times. I fell out of love with watching, and we just had to keep watching and keep showing up often on these streams after defeats. Now we're seeing Everton. It's almost like we don't know what to do. It's like, okay, we're stringing passes together. We look creative. We've got 5 players that could play at least in 3 positions behind maybe Beto. And yes, we could have a 30-goal a season striker and a right back, but it's like I don't even know what to do with myself these days because it's like, well, what am I? I think Evertonians are used to complaining. I'm not sure what I should be complaining about right now.
It's a good complaint to have, though, isn't it? Absolutely.
Yeah.
Considering that we've gone from nothing to these outlets, I think it's really good.
Yeah, and Gene
For
makes
an
a good
absolute
point.
change.
We beat Liverpool last week, or it was the ladies, but they play at Goodison also on Sunday. So if you can't get to the HG Stadium, then try and get back to Goodison if you want to, and go and see the women. And they are playing on the weekend against Spurs, I believe.
And then strangely, they're playing United in the Hill Dickinson. I don't get that.
Why don't they just do it as a double header?
It's ridiculous. Personally, they've got their own stadium now. They don't need to be in the Hill Dickinson.
Well, it gives people a chance. It's money making, isn't it? It gives people a chance that haven't had a ticket, that couldn't get to the early cup game in the season because we've got an away tie against Wolves. Gives them a chance. Anyway, the Liverpool thing, just linking to that, Harvey Elliott obviously just have a good chance of starting for them. But also next week, I am already starting to prepare the sofa for that derby match. And so I think this means that Everton do need to pick something up from this game. And I think it's very important that we go into that derby with the momentum that you just spoke about at the beginning. And there's a very good chance that we can take all 3 points, and then we'll be in this scary position where we'd be almost at the top with them and with maybe Arsenal. Everton can actually go into the 5:30 kickoffs, second in the league, which just looked nice just for a couple of hours, even if it didn't last.
They were obviously Flash, the original play Tyler driven. Lee wants to give Barry a chance. I mean, he's had, obviously, I'm not complaining, but it is a hard choice between the two.
I think it is a hard choice. They've paid a lot of money for Barry and they see him as kind of work in progress. But you have to look at that game where, all right, Wolves got back into it, but Everton were absolutely brilliant. And the scoreline probably didn't reflect Everton's brilliance. And Beto just took his chance. And he's going to be the person that puts it away, I think. I'd be surprised if he doesn't start with Beto, but you just never know. But I just think on confidence alone, I think he'll go with Beto. And Moyes seems to be making good decisions, really good decisions. And he's a bit more attacking, I feel. I mean, he's got the players, and obviously we needed the money to get the players. But he's just more attacking in this spell than we saw maybe at the end. Mabsy's signal has dropped off. He's in a very well-known hotel chain that has a green logo, but we won't blame them. We just know he's been travelling about. So you just joined us, of course. This is a preview of Everton against Aston Villa, and we've been going through some early team news. Bit predictive lineup. Obviously, Grealish is playing one of his former sides in the Villains, and this match comes following Everton's wins against Brighton, Mansfield, and Wolves. Of course, the Leeds game was the first game of the season, and we were robbed with that handball. But we didn't play well that day, so we kind of moved on from that. There are other fixtures, of course. On Saturday, Arsenal face off against Forest. That's the early kickoff before the HD match against Aston Villa. We also have Bournemouth against Brighton, Palace, Sunderland, Fulham, Leeds, and Newcastle Wolves as the other 3 o'clock kickoffs. And then Spurs go to West Ham, where the Hammers are looking to get their season under better stance before they come to see Everton later on this month. The match is the Monday night game on the 29th. And later on in the evening, we have Brentford against Chelsea, an 8 o'clock kickoff, where I'm sure much talk will be about today's news that comes with the news of the various different breaches that Chelsea have been found guilty of. I'm sure they'll appeal that, but focusing back on the Blues, it's the Everton versus Villa game. And I believe Mabsy's back in the room, back here.
Yeah. So, guys, I'm using 5G, and it's just bloody awful. I'm in a hotel and home, so not great. What were you talking about?
Yeah, it's just going through some of the fixtures. There's a very full fixture list on Saturday, and just filling people in with that, and then of course I was just getting to it on Sunday. There are other games that we can mention that are going to be of interest to Everton. We have the Manchester Derby. That's the 4:30 kickoff, and then Burnley play the RS. And then next weekend, of course, Everton have the early kickoff at Anfield. You're going, aren't you?
Yes, I am going. I can't wait, but we'll do the preview next week on that one.
Are you serious? You can't wait.
Honestly, I don't know how long this is. What? Sorry?
You can't wait to go to Anfield. We don't generally get much from there, I'll tell you. Earlier on in the show, we spoke about
and all that.
Yeah. So obviously there's a key decision to make whether he plays Beto or Barry. I don't think it really matters that much, but if one of those got injured, how concerned would you be at this point? Because we've let Chimiti go. And who else is there to call up upon? Would you say that Everton could get away with like a false 9 if we got injuries in the striker position, Mabsy? Signal's quite poor out there in Huddersfield's finest hotel. I'm not going to name names, but we knew the signal might not be so great for this stream for Mabsy, but it was better to get him on. And obviously, he is, for some reason, looking forward to going to Anfield, but he's got a ticket, which is good. And I will be behind the sofa next week. But for this one, really excited to be at the Hill Dickinson again. And so I probably should just talk about my encounter of the first game, because a few streams ago, I hadn't been to the stadium. I didn't go to any of the pre-matches. So there's still people that haven't been, there's people that have, and lots of people have shared what they think. And obviously Ryan and Basil went through their match thoughts, and people have been talking about what they see. So I'll just say that, the stadium, it's just so impressive. You go through this historical dock wall, and it was obviously the first game, so there's some teething issues. But for such a large footprint, you're really close to the game, you're really close to the pitch, and the atmosphere and the noise is just immense. So I was really, really excited to be in there for that first game, and I hope that you had the same feelings, because from what I understand, the Roma game, which was the pre-season friendly that was 2 weeks before, just felt flat as pancake. And the Brighton game obviously had all the fireworks and all of that, and we got the flags. So it's just a great game to be part of, and I'm really proud to say that it's our home. It really is a fantastic place, but I just feel that the transport still has a lot to be desired, and it's under capacity. So we could go on about that, but I just wanted to share my thoughts and kind of the kind of sentiment towards Bramley Moore. It does feel a bit weird going there, but it is what it is, and it's still exciting. And of course, the ladies are in action at Goodison. Mabsy, I was just sharing some thoughts about my first experience last week with what I call the HD Stadium at the moment. But I think the noise is definitely high definition.
It is definitely. It's an amazing stadium. Just need to tweak it. I think there's issues all around the stadium. They've been very focused on the club view, and they need to get it right. And I think someone kind of said I was a bit. Actually, they had right. Goes Everton are going to give them an extra 10 quid for the Villa game, and as a gesture of goodwill. And someone said, "Well, no, it's not a gesture of goodwill. We didn't get to use it." And I actually think that's fair play. I hope they have trained the staff more. I hope that there are more concessions about, or there's still needs to be done, especially in some other parts of the stadium, especially where I sit. But I think my internet's not going to hold that much longer, mate. So
yeah,
I
that's
think
fine. I mean,
obviously,
speaking of internet, the internet is probably better at the Hill Dickinson than it is in most train stations. It was really strong, and it's good for us because it means we can try and get online as soon as the whistle blows. Yeah, of course, the big
you
wide.
can actually cash out, like, if you want to check your bet. It's great.
Yeah, well, I can just message you. I mean, it was just impossible at Goodison. There was never any signal. You can just forget it. Anyway, we're going to move on to score predictions now, because your Wi-Fi is not going to.
Yeah, I'm going to
out.
just give my prediction and go, because it's just not good enough. I reckon we're going to win 2-1. And yeah, and I think Leaf 3-1. And anyway, guys, I'm really true. Up the fucking toffees, and I'll speak soon.
Thanks, Mabsy. We know what it's like when you're in one of those hotels where you've not been given some super broadband line, and we had a feeling this might happen. But that's just life, isn't it? It's great to get Mabsy on here anyway. He's always got a strong opinion to say, right? And a lot of you think Everton are going to win. And Flash, the original, says 3-0. They ain't scoring. And lots of people thinking that they will score, but Everton will win. they'll still win. I'm gonna go 2-0 to the Blues. I'm gonna think that we're gonna do the business again. I do think that home advantage, the crowd, the momentum, the Grealish factor, the way we're playing. I think this is going to be our game, and I'm feeling confident ahead of this game. And I can't say I've said that very often. But it's great to have your company, of course, this evening. We will be having a pre-match stream as well. And of course, as always, we try and go live as soon as possible after the whistle. But it does take us an awfully long time to get out of there. And what was a 45-minute journey is now turned into a 90-minute journey each way for those traveling from certain parts of Liverpool. I think they need to sort it out, but we all know where the issues are. But the main thing is we're in there, we've bedded in, we don't have this anxiety over what this first game's going to do for us and so on. Got that out the way. But yeah, not many sides win their first two games. I think Derby County won their first two games at Pride Park. And I think Spurs or West Ham might have done it, but we'll need to check that one up. But yeah, some positive news, obviously, with the ladies winning and then playing at Goodison. I don't know whether you've seen it, but they've started to strip down the legends off the Goodison wall. It's all a bit strange, and it kind of looks like I don't want to say it, but yeah, it does look a bit weird. But I'm sure they're going to get more pictures up of the Everton ladies team. And if you are getting down there on Sunday, you can get there for, I think, for £5 if you're a season ticket holder. For me, I'm staying away because I just want to relish in the last game of the season, factor at Goodison, and then focus on this new era at the HD. But yeah, lots of positive news. Things are on the up, very much so for the toffees. And so I'm going to leave you with our outro stream, but do join us, of course, before the game and straight after, and we'll have news from that. And then, of course, next week in the build-up to yet another Merseyside derby, this time at Anfield. And maybe, who knows, Everton may go top that day. We just don't know. So up the toffees and bye from me.